Good evening, everyone. Welcome. My name is Susan Gedham, and I'm the Chief of Staff here at TARTA. So we're glad you've joined us this evening as we host this virtual public meeting as mandated by Title VI. We will be discussing changes to our fares and changing our fare equity analysis. So guiding us through this presentation will be Sean Smith, TARTA's Development and Equity Officer. Attendees will also be able to provide their questions in the Q&A box at any time during the presentation. This presentation is being recorded, and any other questions that were presented that we didn't get to will be answered on the TARTA website at a later date. And that website address is www.tarta.com. So we've got a full evening ahead. I'm going to turn it over to Sean. Take it away, Sean.
Thank you, Susan. I'm Sean Smith. I'm the Development and Equity Officer with TARTA, and I'll be presenting on the pilot fare change and the fare equity analysis. Give me 1 second, I'll swap my screen. All right, Susan, can you see my slides?
I sure can. Yep.
Okay. TARTA is required to ensure its transit service is available equally within the service area to minorities, non-minorities, and individuals with low income. Title VI of the Civil Rights Act of 1964 prohibits any form of discrimination on the basis of race, color, or national origin. It also requires transit agencies to analyze the potential effects of major service and fare changes. Equity analyses are required regardless of whether proposed changes would be detrimental or beneficial to riders. TARTA eliminated fares back in March of 2020 due to COVID. On August 1st of this year, TARTA began charging fares again with a pilot fare structure. This presentation will consist of 3 parts. The first part will be comparing the past fare structure with the pilot fare structure. The second, we will review some of the preliminary survey results on fare use. And the third part will cover the Title VI equity analysis. For the first comparison, we can look at the cost of a single trip on the fixed route. One change to the single trip option was the discontinuation of tokens. Tokens are a more costly form of fare media for TARTA to handle, and with the recent advancements of fare boxes and the improvements to smart card technology, tokens are becoming outmoded. The per trip cost for tokens did offer some savings, but in the next slides, I will show some better saving options. With the new fare structure, transfers are free within 2 hours of the activated fare, and for all fixed route fare, reduced fare eligibility was expanded to include active military, veterans, and youth. For the extended passes, there were some improvements to the cost savings. I will note that the estimate here for per trip cost is based on the assumption that a rider will take 2 trips per day. So over a 7-day period, they would take 14 trips, and over a 31-day period, they would take 62 trips. Keep in mind that within each pass period, trips are unlimited, so the more trips you take, the higher the benefit. New to the fare structure is the day pass. Also, rather than being referred to as weekly and monthly, the longer passes are now called 7-day and 31-day. This is because of the timing. With the new extended passes, they're triggered by when the rider activates the first trip. The cost of the 31-day pass was reduced by 25%. You can see that the per trip cost of the 31-day pass can be nearly half that of the old tokens. The ADA and on-demand service fares stayed the same. TARP eligible riders will continue to be able to take zero fare trips on fixed routes. What is new is that fixed route extended passes will not be accepted for ADA or on-demand. Our on-demand service, Call a Ride, will be changing in 2023, When it does, the new service will be $3 for all riders, including those who are eligible for TARPs. Additional details about that service will be coming out soon. Additional benefit that will be starting after the first quarter next year for fixed line riders is fare capping. Fare capping allows riders to get the value of the extended pass without paying the upfront fee. The day cap will be $3, the 7-day cap will be $15, and the 31-day cap will be $45. More details on this will be rolling out over the next few months. TARTA began a fare survey on September 29th, 2022. The in-person surveys were collected by TransPro, a third-party contractor, and preliminary results were collected until October 5th. The survey is still available on the TARTA website and can be submitted online. Additional surveys will be added to the data sample prior to the board presentation in December. The preliminary sample consisted of 421 responses. These results allow us to review how riders use fares to measure the impact of fare changes on minorities and low-income riders. At a glance, we can see that every route was represented. Routes with higher daily ridership, like 2, 5, 19, and 31, did provide more survey responses. The survey results provide representation from over 30 zip codes. The racial demographics show that TARTA ridership is about 3/4 minority. Individuals who make less than $15,000 make up 44% of those surveyed. I will note that in the survey, riders could select prefer not to say for both income and race. For the equity analyses later on, those survey responses were removed. Based on the data, the fare type used most was the single trip pass, followed by the day pass. Together, those short-term passes make up more than half. Only 17% of those surveyed used reduced fare. 46% of riders buy their fare on the bus, and 27% buy at the hub. Of those surveyed, 14% use the EasyFare app. When it comes to payment used for TARTA, the majority of riders only use cash. For the chart here, the columns in blue show the riders that are not exclusive to one payment type, but you can still see that cash is the preferred payment type. For the fare equity analyses, we look at how minorities and low-income individuals purchase fares and which fare options they use. We then compare this against non-minorities and non-low-income individuals to measure if there is a disparate impact or a disproportionate burden. TARTA defines that as when the minority or low-income group bears the adverse effects by 20% or greater. Starting with payment type used, there is some variation between non-minorities and minorities, but no significant gap. We do see that non-low income users are significant cash users. The difference is greater than 20%. There's also a 20% difference for those who indicated none of the above. Some of this group included those who received passes from some other organizations, which may be why there's a larger representation for low-income individuals. TARTA will still be accepting cash for fares in 2023, so there's no negative burden expected. When it comes to where riders purchase tickets, there's no significant difference. The biggest difference we see is with the EasyFare app users. Here we do have a larger percentage of low-income individuals. Next, we have pass types and whether they are reduced fare. Reduced fare use is relatively similar across the chart. For day passes, there is a gap between minorities and non-minorities, but it does not qualify as disparate. For single trip passes, there is a significant gap between low income and non-low income. From the overall data, we know that over 1/3 of riders purchase passes for single trips. Here we show that half of low income riders stick with the single trip pass. This gap matters because the cost saving potentials of the extended passes. For the day pass, the use preference flips. This may mean that a number of low-income single pass users are not planning to ride 2 or more times in a day, and they may find other means for a return trip. In case this is due to a cost barrier, TARTA's mitigation plan is the fare capping system mentioned earlier. TARTA is accepting public comments. All comments about the fare change must be received by 5 p.m. on November 25th to be included as part of the official record. These comments will be shared with the board and will be used to improve service going forward. At this time, Susan, were there any submitted questions that I can help answer?
There were not at this point. I want to remind people, if you do have a question, you can do the Q&A button below. But I just want to put in a word. As we wrap up tonight, please be sure to take the post-event survey that's going to be available when you leave the meeting. So your feedback is so important to us. It helps us to continue to provide valuable events and programs for the community and to learn more about public transit and TARTA. We will have the recording of this tonight's presentation available on our TARTA website in a month or so, maybe a little bit more. But I do want to thank everybody for taking the time out to come and listen on this and presentation. And I do see we have one question, a couple questions. Nice. Thank you for your participation. How long will the survey about fares be open? Same as the public comment period?
Yes, we'll be collecting those surveys until November 25th as well.
Great. And the next one is, when would the routes change? So there will be further public meetings in December that are going to be talking about our future route changes that are going to happen. And so those service changes, public meetings are December 5th, 13th, and 16th. And there will be more information on that. You can sign up for those links. They're on our website and also on our Facebook. And you'll be looking for changes happening, in the first quarter of 23. Does this information cover mainly fixed route, TARTA, and not TARPs? TARPs is more expensive than TARTA, and I think those who would need TARPs because they have disabilities have more trouble affording it. Sean, you want to take that?
For a lot of the fare structure, it does focus on the fixed route. In terms of the fare equity analysis, what we're looking at is how the fare price changes. And so comparing before COVID and now, the fare price was kept the same.
Right. And can you talk a little bit more about how the Easy Fare works? I ride in cabs through TARPs, and they don't scan or take pictures of the app or anything. Does TARPs still get paid? Yes, we do. So our paratransit team is working with the cab companies, and they are just marking down. So it is done visually as far if you have an Easy Pass fare for TARPs. So yes, thank you for that. Yes, we do get paid. Are you looking to change the fare amounts next year?
At this time, we
Sean?
don't have, sorry, yeah, at this time, we don't have plans to change any of the fare prices. We'll lock in this for the next year at least.
Great. Are TARPS riders still ride free on fixed routes? Yes, absolutely. Does a TARPS ID allow for riding call a ride fare free? Will that change during the fare revamping in the future with the new sales tax change?
So with the current Colorado system, yes. We're looking to changing that, and that's going to start in 2023. At that point, that won't be we won't be accepting uh, TARPS IDs for the new on-demand system.
So our new on-demand system is a microtransit system, and that's one of the things we'll be talking about with our fare change, with our service changes and things that are coming up. It's going to be an on-demand service that you can actually request the day of. You don't have to book it in advance. So we're pretty excited about that. So see, when you talk about changing caller ride, you're referring to microtransit. Yes, we are. Thank you for knowing that. It's something we're talking about. We're trying to get the word out. So caller ride is going to be revamped in the early part of 2023 into our microtransit. And there's so many more benefits for that, where a microtransit, like I said, can be on demand, book the day of with in zone A closest to our fixed routes. It'll be a 30-minute pickup and the cost will be $3 each way, which is so much less than Uber. So we're very excited about that and kicking that out early January 2023. And we appreciate everyone's support on that and patience as you learn about that. That will also be able, the microtransit will be able to be booked on an app, or you could call in and talk to our representatives who can book it for you. So, but we do love having the app as a possibility. When will TARTA go into Walmart on Navarre? I think you're talking about Oregon. That's going to be into 2024, early 2024. So that's something we're working on and to be expanding. So the hope is by then we will be all through Lucas County. So yes, it's in the works. It's a big new thing, and we're very excited about that. And I can't say for sure if it's going to be at Walmart on Navarre, but probably. Why wouldn't it be?
It's on the
Don't
radar.
don't quote me. It's on the radar. um, TARPS won't be in all of Lucas County next year. Well, TARPS has to be where the fixed route is.
Yeah, so TARPS will continue to be follow the 3/4 mile of fixed route. What we're doing with microtransit is ensuring that it's accessible as well, and so that's where we're going to start seeing more expansion going into all of the county once microtransit's fully in place.
Right. So these are really great questions. We have, does TARPS go into Toledo Swanton area? Again, that's one of the new service things we're going to be looking at into early into 23, doing Spring Meadows. And so TARPS again must follow what the fixed route does. So as Sean just said, so it will. When the fixed goes, so will TARPS be there. They are hand in hand, which is great and a great service for everyone. Well, I just want to thank everybody. Last call for questions. Those were fantastic questions. We do appreciate it. And again, if you have any other questions, you can reach out to us at TARTA. You can call any of the information lines. You can also send an email to customer-relations@tarta.com. And that's relations with an S at the end. So we always look forward to getting your insight and your questions. And that being said, I do appreciate everyone. Thank you so much. Sean, thank you for an excellent job as always, even with the dogs. But that's okay. It's all good. And thank you everyone. And just have a great night and keep warm out there. Take care. Bye-bye.